Pop-up card fans. Today is the designer challenge for February 2020. And our challenge from Karen Berniston this month is double. And I've decided to make a double-double. My card is an accordion card with a double heart pivot panel on the inside. Since it is February, I've decided to go with a Valentine theme. Who wouldn't love to get all of these lovely hearts in the mail? This card folds up flat for mailing. I have lots to share with you today, so let's get started on our card. For this card, I began with the Karen Berniston Fancy Label Accordion. Then I decorated the edges with the Fancy Flourish frames. Then to finish the inside, I doubled up the heart pivot panel. I began by cutting 4 panels for my accordion card. Then I went around and found all of the crease marks that are made by the die and creased them. I wanted to have all of these little tabs creased for later. Next, I cut out my frame pieces. They're just beautiful. I needed 16 of these. Up next are the decorator panels for the inside of the card. I cut them using pretty patterned paper. Then I edged them all around with red ink so that the white edges wouldn't show. And finally, a variety of hearts, all cut out with the decorator die from the heart pivot panel set. I've laid out my panels, making sure that all the little tabs are going in the same direction. I'm going to speed up the film right here while I decorate the panels. With the exception of the white paper, I'm using all papers from Stampin' Up! Today. I have no affiliation with them, I just like their paper. Now I'm ready to add my edges. And if you line up the first piece on your panel with the top edges of your paper, the rest will follow along and all match up beautifully. At this point, if you were making a regular accordion card, you would match up the tabs like this. However, since we're adding the pivot panel, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of joining them together, I'm going to slide one under the other, making sure that the center panels with the tabs are on top of the center point of these 2 panels. I've added glue to the tabs only. Then I'm going to slide the tabs under the neighboring decorative panel. I'm giving it a good press, and then I'm going to set it aside while the glue dries. By doing it this way, we've created a flat panel with a center point where we're going to attach our pivot panels later. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other section. It's almost like creating 2 separate cards that we're going to join together later. Now that our glue has set, we want to find the center point of each panel. And we're going to do that by folding it in half, right where the 2 panels meet. For this accordion, we want the folds going in the same direction instead of the opposite way as we usually do. I've cut 2 pivot panels and found the creases just as usual. But for this card, we need to make a small alteration, which I'll show you next. Here you can see the altered panel, and what I did was cut off the panel right at the crease mark on both ends, but be sure to leave the tabs because you need those for gluing your panel on. I've gone ahead and decorated my panels. Now we're going to add them to the center point of the previous panel, the same way that you would a regular pivot panel die. If you need a refresher on this, I've linked Karen's video below on how to put these together, as well as this one for the accordion. I've added glue to the exposed tabs and folded them under, keeping the centers aligned. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other end. Now we're going to repeat the process on the other panel, still treating them as if they were 2 separate cards. Notice that I've kept my tabs going in the same direction, and that's what we need to do in order to make it go together correctly. Now we want to fold our card in half, finding the center point of the card and the pivot panel by gently pushing it together and pressing it down. At this point, the accordion sections are still separate. We're going to join those right now by lining them up just underneath the tab. Be generous with the glue. We want it to hold well. I'm going to fold that over so that it connects the 2 pieces. Give it a good press. Let your glue set up and then open gently. And you can see we have 1/2 of a card. With that done, we're going to do the exact same thing to the other section, lining them up and gluing that tab and then gently folding it over. With that done, it appears that we have two cards, but we're going to join them together, making it one full card. At this point, I know I'm not going to need these little tabs on this side, so I'm going to snip them off. As you're looking at the card, this would be the tab that's on the far left. I left the large tab attached because I thought I was going to use it for my cover, but as you'll see later, I changed my plan. Now it's time to turn our two cards into one card, and we're going to do that by adding glue to the exposed tab that's in the center of the card. Lining them up, we're going to simply glue them together. Give them a good press and then let the glue set up. Now that we have joined these into one card, the center is going to be a mountain fold, while the sides are both going to be valley folds. Now we're going to work from the back of our card. We're keeping the hearts in front of the center post and the tabs behind the center post. Add a little glue to the tabs, and then we're going to join these two panels together behind the center. It's going to feel a little awkward at this point, but just work your fingers in there and press those tabs down. It seems that everything is working beautifully. I'm just going to give it another press, and I'm going to reach in there and pinch those two center tabs together. It seems that everything is good. The problem being, when it's collapsed, I have things sticking out the side of my card, so I have to do something about that. So here's my solution. As it turned out, I ended up cutting off this tab that I thought I was going to use. I cut 4 more frame pieces to match the inside of my card, and then I made a small border using the Border Blends die. And then for the final cutout, I used the Happy Valentine's Day. After collapsing my card, I added my border to the right-hand side. I made it about 1.5 inches wide. That was enough room to glue it to the card and cover all of those things that I want to hide. After placing my frame all around, I put Happy Valentine's Day right in the center, and as a finishing touch, I added a few more little hearts. I'm happy with the results and hope that you have enjoyed it as well. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.